Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, it is currently 1:44 a.m. It's very hot and muggy Sunday evening going into Monday morning. It is currently 78 degrees outside. And I am back home again in Indiana. Feels so weird being in this car doing a car vlog. I know some of you missed the car vlogs. Troy said, I miss the car vlogs. I like the vacation vlogs, but I miss the car vlogs. I miss the car vlogs too. I like doing the car vlogs. They're peaceful for me, and it's kind of a way to cathartically process my day at the end of the day. Someone said not too long ago, these are kind of like your journals. And I guess they kind of are, really. They're kind of like my video journals. Kind of like video blogs, which is like what they were back in the day. I remember I used to call them vlogs. Did you guys ever call vlogs vlogs? I used to call them vlogs back in the day. Oh my gosh. Well, let me just tell you, I'm very proud of myself. My computer is all unpacked and plugged in, and most of my backpack that I carry on the plane with me is unpacked, most of it. All my cords and stuff like that, my camera and whatever. What else? And watches and bracelets and things like that, you know, that I carry with me. And then what else do I carry? And then my medicine, treats that I get at the airport. Forever I thought that you couldn't bring like candy through like TSA. I thought like you had to buy it like at the airport. I don't know why I thought that. And then I realized, I think it was the last trip that we took, I totally forgot to do it this time, that you can bring candy through. And next time we go on vacation, I am not buying candy at the airport because it's so expensive. But I did today. I got some peanut M&Ms, and I got a Dr. Pepper that I drank at the airport. I got Alex a water, and he wanted gummy bears, but they didn't have them, so I got him Chewy Sprees. And which spilled on the floor. He was like holding them, and like the plane like jolted forward, and they like came out of the bag, and or he dropped the bag, I don't know. Anyway, so anyway, let me tell you about my day, my exciting day. Oh, and my suitcases are unpacked. And I have all my clothes in a pile of wash that I need to do. All my shoes are put away. My fan is put away. Everything is put away. Except for my laundry. So, and I have my Diet Coke right here. I brought actually 2 Diet Cokes. Because when I'm done vlogging, I might listen to a little bit of my audiobook. I have like an hour and a half left, and I would like to listen to 45 minutes tonight so I can finish the other 45 minutes tomorrow. And then I totally forgot that I have to read that book Falling, because that's August, Peter's book club book for August. It's like 8 hours and 40 minutes or something. I think it's 8 hours and something. I think I can get it done in 2 days. So, that would be the last book that I read in August. And I was just on this website. I was like looking through stuff on the computer, and I was like looking at this website. Well, I was like, what book am I going to listen to next? And I'm really wanting to listen to a cozy mystery. And so I was on Audible, but then there's this website. I don't know what this website's called, but if you Google like best cozy mystery series, it pulls this website up. And this website this woman has put together, I'm assuming it's a woman, she's literally put like every cozy mystery series in the entire world on this one. She even has it like cozy mystery series by theme. Cozy mystery series, it's like categorized by theme. Cozy mystery series by state. So like Indiana has like 7 or 8 series that are based in Indiana. But you can go through like any state or anywhere. Then like Irish cozy mysteries, and by hobby you can go in there and see. So if you want to like read cozy mysteries about crochet, and like maybe Mel would like to read those, or cooking or gardening or flower arrangement or whatever your hobby is, it has them all listed. I mean, I was blown away. And then she also has the definition in there about what cozy mysteries really are. And it was interesting because I was reading like the Goodreads list of like the top however many cozy mysteries, and people were complaining about the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovich, and they were like, it's not a cozy mystery series. And it is. And the thing is about cozies is that, I like calling them cozies now because I just love them, is that they're not like real graphic, violently or, you know, intimately graphic. And the Stephanie Plum series did get a little intimately graphic. But most cozies don't. They kind of like, it's very much like that whole Alfred Hitchcock, you know, walk into a hotel room, look outside and see if anybody's looking, and you put the do not disturb sign on. That's supposed to insinuate that, you know, you are in there making whoopee, like they said on the, what was that show back in the day? What was that game show that we used to watch back in the day? The Newlywed Game. Making whoopee, you know, that's what it's supposed to be, real kind of like innocent like that. And I like that aspect of it. I'm not somebody that like, I'm not like, I don't know, like maybe I am more of a prude than I thought I was. I don't know, but like, I don't enjoy reading like real hardcore intimate scenes. It doesn't bother me. Like I can, like Jackie Collins, she used to like write all that kind of stuff in her series, and like that, like I can read it. It doesn't bother me, but I don't enjoy it one way or the other. So, you know, like it doesn't, for me, it doesn't add anything to the book. And I know that there are people out there that really enjoy that in a book, but like for me, it's just not that. I don't enjoy it so much. So anyway, I was reading all that about cozy mysteries, and then I was looking up to see which ones were on Audible. I actually downloaded one not too long ago, but I downloaded a new one. Did I download 2 books tonight or just 1? Well, the second book in the Maddie Day series that takes place in Southern Indiana, I think it's called Grilled for Murder. I have that already downloaded in my library because it said in your library. So I downloaded... Shoot, I would have to pull over and tell you guys what I downloaded. And I'm still trying to finish this Void Moon by Michael Connolly. It's good. And I don't remember reading it. Like, it's been so long that I don't remember specifics about it. So anyway, after I got done vlogging last night, Alex and I sat on the patio and I started watching Ocean's 11 a little bit because I had downloaded it, and so I was like, well, I might as well watch it. And I didn't realize, I thought I had rented it, but I bought it. I didn't rent it. So I was like, well, I can watch this another time. So I went inside because Alex, we were watching Friends, and then when I came back, when I got done vlogging, Friends was over. So The Meg, the movie about the shark, was on. So we like had all of our extra treats that we had. Like I had a half box of peanut M&Ms, and then I had some those like goldfish crackers. Alex had some goldfish crackers. I can't remember which ones I got, like the cheese pizza ones. They were really good. And Alex had some goldfish left, and then he was eating like Swedish fish, and I had some Swedish fish too. They're like a vegetarian gummy candy. I think they're like the only one, or one of the only ones that aren't specifically made for it. And then I had some extra Cheez-Its left over from the plane, and I ate those. So we got rid of all of our snacks. And we were completely packed and everything. And I just kind of kept on wanting to stay up later and later. I was like, it's our last night. Although I have to say, it did feel like we were in Vegas for a really long time. And so finally I went to bed like right at 1 o'clock. Like by 1 o'clock, I was like in bed. Wasn't it? Or maybe it was, maybe it was like, I think I looked at the clock and it was like 1:24. I don't know why 1:24 is like sticking out to me, but I think it was like 1:20ish, something around. I'm almost positive I got into bed like right at 1:24. Like I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, 1:24. So, and then we slept until like 5 after 9, got up, took showers, and I was like having a hard time checking out. Like it wouldn't let me check out from the room. And so Alex was like, because he had scheduled an Uber, if you're ever gonna like schedule, like get an Uber for the way to the airport, like you can schedule it the night before, and that way like you don't have to wait in case there are like a lot of Ubers that are running behind. So Alex scheduled this Uber, and then we got down there, like when we were like getting ready to go down, like the guy texted and said that he was like pulling in. So we went downstairs and Alex is like, well, do you want to check out at the desk? And I was like, I'll just have to call him and do it. I said, because, well, I did it from the room, but like it just kept on buffering on the TV. I don't know, you can check out on the TV. I said, I'm just gonna have to do it from the room, or I'll have to call and do it because it's not letting me do it from the room. So it was so weird, like when we were walking there was like this couple in front of me that we like passed by, and she was like, well, you can just do that text thing to check out. And he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I can do that too. Or she said something like, to save time if you want to just text. She was like a, you know, like a guest staying there. That was kind of like, this is like a God moment thing, because we were stressing out about, well, I was stressing out about the checking out thing. And I was like, oh, I forgot. Like they had texted me like the day before, so yesterday, and they were like, you know, if you want to stay another night, ante up, and just let us know you want to stay another night, and we'll give you like a rate for what your room would be for one more night. We'll give you like, I think it's like a cheaper rate or something. And then they're like, or if you want to check out, then you can just like hit this link and check out. But it was after like 10 o'clock that we had to wait. So we got to the airport. I was in the car. Was I in the car when I was doing that? I think I was in the car and I was like checking us out. And you guys, I left my favorite pair of reading glasses. I left them in the Uber. I either left them on the Uber, I had them in my hand, and I almost kind of feel like when I got out of the Uber, like I put them on top of the roof. I just am always like, I always so stupid. I do stuff like that. I left that like D squared icon hat like on the seat next to me in the plane. So anyway, I mean, I've got like 5 other pairs, it's whatever, but they're like my most comfortable ones. So we got to the airport. We were worried because it was like a Sunday, and they tell you to get there now like 2 hours in advance to whenever you're flying out. So we got our bags checked and everything like that, and we were like, we have like 2 hours until like our plane left. But we had to take the tram, like little monorail thing. I said, this reminds me of the monorail at Disney World or Epcot Center, or, you know, like the Disney properties. But anyway, we took the little tram monorail thing, monorail, to like the concourse that we were at. We waited there, and then, well, we got coffee at Starbucks, which was like a forever long wait, but it was whatever. And then, yeah, and then we flew from there to Minneapolis, and that was like a 3-hour, 2.5 hour something flight. Minneapolis is a beautiful airport. I had never, Alex and I were both like, have we ever flown through here before? I don't think so. Minneapolis was a beautiful airport, and very modern and new, and there was like a lot of stuff there that I hadn't seen. Like they have little like rooms that have like these stations where you can like charge stuff, like little cubicles to work at and stuff. Completely free, you know, that you can sit there. A lot of airports, you know, have like the charging terminals, but it's like everybody standing around them. Like this was like complete rooms that were like next to like where you wait, like the little waiting area for your plane. Now our plane was really small from Minneapolis to Indianapolis. Alex Alex and I were doing like some researching on the Google for why it's called the Twin Cities. Because Alex was like, why is it called the Twin Cities? And I was like, I'm not really sure I know, which is crazy that I didn't know that. I'm not sure I really still understand. It's like the two cities, Minneapolis, Saint, I don't want to say because I'll be wrong. St. John, is it? Minneapolis, St. Paul. I think they share like the river on either side of the river, and they share a lot of other things. But then it was like historically that's actually not true. Why it's called that, and it's called that for another reason. So anyway, but yeah, I still don't feel like I know. So if you're from Minneapolis and you really feel like you know, will you share in the comment section below? But anyway, we sat there. So Alex and I got to Minneapolis. We had to take another little monorail train thing, monorail, to the concourse, and then we walked to our gate, and we got there, and you guys, we were 2.5 hours early. So I listened to my audiobook. Alex was watching something on his phone. He went and got chicken nuggets and 2 things of fries at one point, and I was just like, it'll be whatever, I'm not that hungry. So oh, I know what, I watched that movie from Las Vegas to Minneapolis called 4 Days with Glenn Close and Mila Kunis. Okay, you guys, that movie is really, really well done. It's a hard movie to watch. So it's about, Mila Kunis plays a heroin addict. Well, she's an addict in general. I mean, she uses a lot of things. She drinks. She talks about having gotten DUIs and stuff. And Glenn Close is her mother. And when it starts, it's like she's begging Glenn Close to like let her come and stay there until she can get into detox. And Glenn Close presents as this mother. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but like this is just the beginning. She presents as this mother that already has it all figured out. Like, no, you're not coming in the house, setting boundaries and limits and whatever. But it's such a fantastic movie because if it were really that black and white, if it were really that easy, you know, there was no gray in there, whatever, like when it comes to family members and setting limits and boundaries. But like it's so difficult, right? And Glenn Close is somebody that, like, even though like Mila Kunis at the point that the movie starts has been in detox, like this is her 15th time. And it really shows like how addicts and alcoholics are towards their family members, you know, like, and Mila Kunis is unbelievable. If they both don't get nominated for Academy Awards for this, I will be just blown away. Mila Kunis is like, I'm not a huge Mila Kunis fan anyway. I think she's very pretty, but like the only thing I think I've seen her in is Black Swan, and I don't really remember her a whole lot in that movie, honestly. Was she was in Black Swan, wasn't she? So anyway, she was unbelievable in this movie. And I even called Tanya when we got home, and I was telling her that I'd watched it, and or did I call her halfway? No, I called her, because I texted her halfway. I called her when we got home, and I was telling her about it. She's like, yeah, I started it, I couldn't watch it. She's like, I feel like it's everybody we know that's gone back out, you know, and it's so sad, and it just reminded me of a lot of friends of mine that have passed away. It was just really hard to watch, but it was a good movie. There were some things in there that were, I don't know, it's like, I don't like to watch movies like that. Here's the thing. I don't love to watch movies like that as an addict, alcoholic, especially as somebody that's an addict, alcoholic, that's been sober for 26 years. It's hard to watch that stuff because the reality is, like, the vast just knowledge that I have that anybody would have with 20 plus years of sobriety if you were actively working a program and, you know, going to working with people in, you know, treatment facilities and working with people that were living in halfway houses and that were on these medications, you would know. So here's the whole premise to the video, or to the movie, the preface to the video, or the preface to the movie is that Mila Kunis is this addict that wants to get clean and sober. She's lost her kids to her ex, She wants to get her kids back. She wants to get her life back together, but she has to stay sober for 4 days to get all of the drugs out of her system before she can get this shot. And the shot will keep her from, it's supposed to reduce cravings, is really part of what it's supposed to do. And then it's also supposed to keep heroin and opioid addicts from using heroin and opioid, okay? They don't say the name of the shot in the movie, but I'm almost positive they're talking about a Vivitrol shot because it's like pretty popular these days. There was Suboxone, which is Subutex. Well, Subutex and Suboxone are different, but Suboxone is what they use. It's buprenorphine, is like the real term for it. But they use Suboxone to do long-term, like, maintenance. Well, not maintenance, but maintenance too. They do use it for that. I think in Europe they do actually, but they do long-term detox. And the reason that they do it is, the reason originally that Suboxone was used was because of, we are seeing opioid and heroin addicts die just left and right? So it was really for the opioid addict that had gone through several treatments and was not successful. The doctor in the movie quoted some statistic, and he said, like, heroin addicts have a 97% chance of going back out, which was, if that's a true statistic, I would say I'm not surprised, but that breaks my heart, you know? And so it's for people that have gone in and out, and treatment hasn't worked. So originally, like when people were on Suboxone, they would only get like a 2-day dose of it, and they had to go to the doctor like every other day. It's completely different than methadone. A lot of people get it confused with methadone. It's different than methadone. And then they would have to like randomly give drug screens whenever they were called. They had to call in every single day. I feel like I've known so many people that were on Suboxone back in the day. So they would have to call every single day, and then the doctor's office would just randomly be like, okay, today you're coming in. So you never knew. You could come in like 2 or 3 days in a row and then not for 2 weeks, or you might come in not for 2. You just never knew. It was totally random, right? And then you also had to attend, like have a checkup with your doctor. You usually had to attend a group through your doctor's office or like some outpatient program. And then you also had to go to meetings, work a 12-step program, and have a sponsor. Like this was what was required at the time that Suboxone came out by state law. And I know in Indiana, when it first came out, there were only 2 or 3 doctors that were like able to prescribe it legitimately. And then what happened was that a lot of doctors started prescribing it, not just in Indiana, but all over the place. And then what happened was a lot of people started buying it on the street, learning how to get high from Suboxone, and then also they could kind of like maintenance manage themselves. Like I know a lot of people that have in the past, like maybe they'll use like heroin from like Thursday to Sunday, and then let's say they have to work through the week, and they'll use Suboxone through the week to get them through. But what you have to do with Suboxone, and I think Vivitrol is the same way, like with Suboxone you have to drop to a certain level of opioids in your system before you can put somebody on Suboxone, and then it kind of like raises you up, and then you keep them at something like that, I think. Well, the Vivitrol shot I think is similar to that. I will say the thing is, there's a scene in the movie when, well, I won't say because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but if they're going to watch it, I have known people, it's like Antabuse. Antabuse is the drug that I don't think doctors prescribe it as much anymore. I don't know, maybe. If you guys know somebody that's been on Antabuse recently, let me know. But I don't know anybody that has been on Antabuse recently. But Antabuse is the one for alcohol, to the point where you could, like if you drank on it, it would make you so violently ill that you would have to go to the emergency room, was like the whole idea behind it. Part of the issue for me was back in the day was like we didn't have all of this like maintenance drug stuff, you know, but my attitude has changed a lot about it. There were a lot of people, well, first of all, let me just say this about Antabuse. I have known people that have drank through Antabuse so that they can drink. Like, yes, it does make you violently ill, but I've known people that like have drank through it, got violently ill, and then they can drink on Antabuse. I've known people that have done the same thing on Vivitrol. So, do I think that it is, like, will make you violently ill if you use on Vivitrol? Yes, that's what I've heard. Just based on what I've heard. But I do know people that have used on Vivitrol. So I don't know, like, they got really sick, and then they were able to use after that. But they did use on it. The thing is that from a 12-step point of view, all these maintenance drugs, like, it was a really bad rap for a long time. Like, a lot, and I feel like I kind of really fell into this at first too. It was like, a lot of old timers really felt like if you're on Suboxone and you're working in a 12-step, if you're working a 12-step program, then you're not really sober because you're using a maintenance drug to keep you sober, right? I don't feel that way today. I have friends of mine that have been on Suboxone for, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm sure there are people out there that disagree with this, but I have had friends of mine that, like, the thing is, if you're using Suboxone correctly and you're not abusing it, and you're using it doctor prescribed, which is basically what 12-step programs tell us to do anyway. You know, I was always told that, like, if I had to, like, have some major surgery and I needed to take painkillers, 12-step programs don't tell us we can't take painkillers. 12-step programs tell us that, why is my car acting weird? Oh, because I'm on this like, new paved road. 12-step programs tell us that we can take those medications as prescribed by a doctor. So, like, I was always taught that, like, for example, if I got, like, pain medication, you know, I talked about this when my back stuff was going on, that was my fear, right? Was because I've heard so many people that have gone back out after back injuries and all this kind of stuff. But realistically, I would have to give it to Alex and dole it out and things like that, right? So you take it as prescribed. I don't know. I've known a lot of people that are on Suboxone, and you would never know that they were on Suboxone, and they go to meetings every day, and they have a sponsor, and they work steps, and they're tapering down. You know, they're not on a high level. And so that's the whole idea, is that you slowly detox somebody over 6 months to, like, 2 years, I think. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know how long it is, but today, I don't know how long it is. But that's the whole idea, is that it's like a slower detox, you know, to where the person doesn't need it anymore, and they've detoxed off of it slower. And, you know, and the reality is, if they're not abusing it, with the way that treatment programs are today with insurance will pay for, like, 1 or 2 days of detox, and then they throw you into an outpatient program and they'd rather pay for a maintenance drug than because, you know, like the whole pharma kind of deal, you know, making all this money. They'd rather, you know, put you on some kind of maintenance drug than put you into a 30-day treatment program or a residential program. So, I don't know, you know, like, today, I'm like, I just want people that are heroin addicts or opioid addicts to live successful lives. I don't want them to die, and if they have to be on Suboxone for that, hey, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. I can tell you I'd probably be like, put me on Suboxone, you know? Like, I don't want to die. Like, you know? So, my attitude has changed completely about that over time. So in the movie, she has to stay sober for 4 days because she can't have any drugs in her system when she takes this shot. And the mom is just like, Glenn Close is just like, oh my God, this is the answer to all of our prayers. It really is an interesting conversation to open up, though, too, about, like, this shot. You know, it's like, there's an interesting conversation that goes around sometimes every once in a while. It's like, if a drug came out that cured addiction, right? Like, let's say if somebody, like, I could take a drug, and that drug would mean that I could drink successfully. Like, would I take the drug? And I don't think I would. You know, like, I think the thing is, when you've been sober for a while, like, this is really hard to explain to somebody that's, like, early in sobriety, or somebody that, because I wouldn't have got it early in sobriety. It's really hard to explain to somebody that doesn't really understand sobriety to begin with. But, like, here's the thing. Like, sobriety has so little to do with the drug or the drink. Like, it really, really does. I don't really know how to explain it to anybody, but, like, if you look at the 12 steps, the mention of drugs or alcohol is only in the first step. The rest of the 12 steps, the rest of the other 11 steps are about, you know, cleaning up the wreckage of your past, righting your wrongs, being of service to others, doing inventory, and practicing these principles in all of our affairs, you know? So it's a design for living. It stopped. It's a design for living. So I don't know that I would take a drug and lose everything that comes along with me working in a 12-step program. I'm not talking about Suboxone. I'm talking about, because that's a completely different story. Because people that are on Suboxone are recommended to work a 12-step program. I do know that almost every doctor that has people on Suboxone, you know, recommends, and I'm not saying that they all do, but I know, just from my point of view, I know a lot of people that are on Suboxone and go to 12-step meetings and work a program, okay? I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are on Suboxone that don't go to 12-step meetings and they are successful as well. So, and that's their story, and I'm glad that it works for them, because I don't want more people to die from heroin addiction. It's I mean, it's just depleting and it's just killing so many people, you know? So, that's the other thing as this movie shows, is the mother is really angry at the medical field, and she blames them for getting her daughter hooked on heroin, which is really interesting point of view, but I think it's a point of view that a lot of people have. The stepfather has a really interesting role in the movie, and at the very end, he has kind of like this monologue that he gives, and I was like this on the plane. So if you watch the movie, then the monologue that the stepfather gets about, he does this, she like, okay, well, I am going to share this because it won't ruin it for you, and it's just such a poignant part of the movie. He hasn't said anything throughout the whole movie, and she decides that she's going to come and stay there for the 4 days, right? She doesn't ask him, she doesn't ask his approval or anything like that, right? And so, which, you know, as a couple, I think that's a conversation that you would have, right? Especially since they've got alarms on the door and change locks and sleep with their pocketbooks. I mean, everything that you have to do if you're a family member of an addict. If you've been through it, you know, right? And so there's a scene in the kitchen when she starts getting really snide with him. And he goes, what? He looks at her and he says, what did you say? Or something like that. And she gets real smart with him. And he says, are you looking to fight with me? He says, are you looking to fight with me because you're mad at her, so I'm going to be your punching bag? And I was like, woo! If I don't know some people in this world, okay, that want to take their anger out, it's deflected anger, right? And I'm like, man, I know some people like that. I know some people that are just the angriest people in the world, right? But they don't ever take their anger out on where it should be directed, you know? And most anger, I think, should be a reflection of when we're really that angry, we really need to look in the mirror and be like, okay, what's my part in this? You know what I mean? But anyway, I thought that was so true when he says, are you mad at her so you want to fight me? He said, am I going to be your punching bag now? And she starts screaming and yelling. He like kneels down and he starts talking to her. And he said, she starts blaming herself because of a reason why. That's a huge part of the story, so I'm not going to say why. And he says, do you think you're to blame for this? He says, you think that if you hadn't done this, that she wouldn't be a heroin addict? He said, or maybe it's, you know, if you had done this. Or maybe it's if you had done that. Or maybe it's when she was 6, you had bought the blue shoes instead of the red shoes. I started like bawling watching this part, because I have so many friends of mine whose families feel this way. And my mom used to say this stuff to me. My mom would be like, you know, if I just hadn't done this, or if I just had done this differently, you know, and I'm like, Mom, it's not about that. It's not about that. Like, you know. And so the stepdad goes through this whole, her husband goes through all these things, and he's like, is it maybe because you bought the red shoes instead of the blue shoes? And if you'd only bought the blue shoes, then, you know, she wouldn't be an addict. Or if you did this, she wouldn't be an addict. Or if you did this, she wouldn't be an addict, right? He said, or maybe it was the moment that her father's sperm met her mother's egg. And I was like, oh my God, like, true. Like, you know, we don't talk enough about the predisposition of addiction. It's just, you guys, it's a super powerful movie. But it's kind of sad, and it's really, really well done. But I can tell, like, this is the thing, that addiction movies have really evolved. You know, back in the day, it was, you know, Clean and Sober, and it was, I love that movie. And it was about treatment programs, or 28 Days about treatment programs, you know, and getting a sponsor and what's that all about after you get out of treatment, all that kind of stuff. You know, or just a drinking thing, like leaving Las Vegas. Man, I watched that the night before we left for Las Vegas. That is a sad movie. I had forgotten how sad that movie is. So anyway, depressing and sad. Have you guys seen that movie, Leaving Las Vegas? Really sad. So, oh, I was talking about it on here, wasn't I, that night? Now it's about, you know, how mothers and family members get fooled by the addict and the games the addict plays. And at the end, the mother even kind of, I'd be interested to know what some other people think. I kind of almost got that, like, at the end, that, like, things were better, but the mother was also still now getting to believe the lie. It just was kind of, like, sad, like, how much she believed in this shot. Like, she believed that this shot would, like, and I get it. Like, you know, I mean, I can remember looking at my dad that way. You know, when I was in programs or whatever, my dad would just be like, this is going to be the thing that's going to solve everything. And he didn't get it. You know, and inside my head, I was thinking, I can't wait to go get high. You know? I wasn't thinking about how, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is going to work. This is going to work so well. And, you know, it was sad. And treatment really broke that down when I had to, like, sit there and, you know, get honest and look at my dad in the eyes and tell him that stuff. You know, it was hard. He knew. My dad knew by that point, you know. Oh, man. But anyway, it's a good movie. So that's what I watched from Las Vegas to Minneapolis. And we sat there. Alex ate his McDonald's. It didn't seem like 2.5 hours at all. And then we flew from Minneapolis. It was a real small plane. From Minneapolis to Indianapolis. It was like a 2-hour and 40-minute flight, I think. It ended up being like an hour and 10 minutes. And I didn't really have a lot. I downloaded all this stuff. Okay, you guys, this is so silly when I tell you what happened. You know how I downloaded all of this stuff on my iPad? Okay. Well, I had downloaded, like, stuff on, like, Amazon, I don't know, different apps, streaming apps, right? But I didn't download the app. I don't even know why. Like, so the app, like, if I'm on, like, if I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, like, the app shows up, like, it's active. But then if I'm not on Wi-Fi, you have to, like, download the app or something. I don't really know how it works. But anyway, so I sit there on the first plane ride, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't download these apps. Like, I don't have any of them, right? Except for Netflix. And so I went to look and see what I had downloaded on Netflix. I had stuff on my phone, but I didn't want to watch it on my phone since I had my iPad, and I charged my iPad and all this kind of stuff. So, and I had, like, charged, when I was in Minneapolis, I, like, stopped listening to my audiobook so I could charge my, what do you call it? My AirPods so that I could play those. So I could listen to those while I was going to Indianapolis, and I charged my phone the rest of the time. Because I didn't know how long it would take me, or how long, you know, I just didn't know how long we were going to be there, or how much longer. I feel like my AirPods on the way out there started dying or something. So anyway, I was like, okay, I had Fear Street Part 1 on Netflix. I had it downloaded on Netflix. So I watched that, and I ate my peanut butter M&Ms. And I had a Diet Coke on the way to Indianapolis. Can I just tell you, now I'm only halfway through that movie. You guys, it is really good. Okay, first of all, it very much gives me, like, Scream vibes. It reminds me of Scream a lot. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of I Know What You Did Last Summer. It kind of reminds me of those books. Well, it's based on, like, the Fear Street books, right? By R.L. Stine. But it has that kind of feeling to it. And I don't even really know how to explain it. It's about these teenagers, and they're from this town where, like, all these murders have occurred, and supposedly it goes all the way back to this witch that was killed or something like that. And so half the town it's like Sunnyside versus Sunnyvale or something, and like one side's poor and one side's rich. Anyway, it's about this group of kids that's basically being hunted by a killer, and on the heels of like this big, it reminds me of Scream a lot, actually, on the heels of like this massacre that occurred. And it's very graphic though, violently. Like, I'm like, this is for like kids, or is this not for kids? I thought it was for like junior high, like Fear Street and stuff. Am I wrong? I mean, there's a part where somebody's Achilles heel gets split, and then he runs after that. I'm like, how did your Achilles heel get split by a knife, and you just started running? I was like, how was that? That was the only thing. But it actually, one of the guys in it he kind of plays a funny character too. He's the son of Steve Zahn in Lotus Hotel. I think that kid's like in everything right now or something. But it's a lot better than I thought it would be. I'm like really liking it. And it's very scary. There's a lot of jump scares. It's better than, so a lot of jump scares and stuff like that. It's better than half of these scary movies that I see. It's better than the new Conjuring movie that Alex and I watched. What else is it? I don't even remember that Conjuring movie, really. What happens? Oh, that girl gets married, and then her husband ends up, yeah, being like a killer, and he kills somebody. I can't remember who he kills, but anyway. Have you guys seen Fear Street? Do you like it? I think it's good. So then we came home. I called Tanya and talked to her on the way home, checked in on our little puppies. Can't pick the puppies up, obviously, till tomorrow. They have to have baths first, too, you know. So anyway, we are in the process of finding a new groomer, too, because Tanya's in between groomers right now. And so she wasn't even sure she was going to hire another groomer, and now she thinks she's going to hire another groomer. But, and I had always just, you know, taken them there for the longest time. There was another place we took them sometimes, but, yeah. So, but they still do baths and stuff like that. But we need to get them groomed. So, that's on the agenda this week. The thing is it's so hard to get into a groomer right now. And Boo Radley does not like anybody like touching his head, like with the clippers or with like scissors or anything. Somebody recommended this guy, I think it's a guy, maybe it's a woman, I don't know. That's like a mobile pet service, and they come to your house. And so somebody was like, well, maybe when they do Boo Radley's head, you could just like sit right there. And I thought, well, that's not a bad idea. So we're maybe thinking about doing that. But Boo Radley's still okay. Tucker's like the one that's like really like, he needs to be like trimmed down for the early fall. They're not super long, but they need grooms. We take them in to get their nails trimmed at the vet. So I feel like we're at the vet all the time with them. And the last time that I was there, I asked the vet for some recommendations for groomers, and they're like, you know, it's just hard to get in with anybody. And then that was like the technician. She was like, you know, like everybody's booked right now. And so I said to our vet, I said, do you have recommendations of anybody like for vets or for groomers that you like? And she's like, yeah, we have a list. I'll give it to you. And then I walked out and she didn't give it to me. So I need to get that. We'll find somebody. So what else? So we came home. Yeah, and then Alex got right into bed. Alex had made like the bed like really, really nice before we left, and like with all the pillows and stuff like that. So then we came home and he took all the pillows off. I turned the fan on, and then he got into bed. And I thought he was going to bed right away. And so I was like downstairs looking at stuff on the computer. I was looking at Audible, just looking at Cozy Mystery stuff. And so he was like upstairs and the light was on and he was like watching TikToks and he was playing this game. I think he has to like, he plays this game, then he has to like wait like 5 minutes or something, then he can play it again. He gets like another, you know, like spin or something. I don't know how it works, but anyway, so those TikToks over there, I had completely forgot about those TikToks until I got in the car tonight. Those TikToks of Tanya Jeans. But anyway, so I went upstairs and I was like, the light was still on and stuff. I kind of thought I might walk up there and he'd be asleep. And I was like, are you still up? These houses are so pretty. I say this every single time I know, but they are just so pretty. What did that say? Happy 75th anniversary or something like that? I'm gonna go down this little side street and come back around there because it said happy 75th something. They always decorate their house. Oh my God, look at those. They're so pretty. Flowers. I never go down this little side street here. Now there's some apartments right here that I wonder, like, is it like a gated apartment area? I wonder how expensive it would be to live in these apartments because these are like literally walking distance. They're real small and they look very old. But I wonder how expensive it would be to, because you like could walk right to. Those people have a huge chicken, like a 4-foot high chicken or rooster or something on their patio. I wonder how much it would be to rent an apartment right there. They're literally 3-story little red brick apartment buildings. For some reason, it reminds me of where my grandma used to live. I don't know why. But hers were only 2 stories. I said something to Caroline not too long ago. I said, is that apartment complex that grandma used to live in? It was called like Knob in the Woods. I said, is it still there? And it was called Knob in the Woods. I know that for a fact. And she was like, yeah, it's still there. And I go, it's called Knob in the Woods? She goes, no, it's not called Knob in the Woods anymore. It's called something else. I was like, how do you know this? And she's like, well, it's right over by such and such. And I was like, how do you know that? I would have no idea where to guess where her old apartment was. We stepped off the plane tonight, you guys, or we stepped out of the airport tonight, and you forget, like, I like the mugginess and the humidity, but you forget, like, really what humidity is like until you're back in Indiana or the Midwest. I don't know about the rest of the Midwest, but in Indiana, it's like literally, you're like drenched like that quick. Okay, this is my favorite house in here, and they always decorate the front for whatever is going on, whatever holiday. There's little bikes out in front now. What does it say? Oh my God, you guys. Happy 75th. Oh, it's out of focus. It said happy 75th birthday. I love that. Well, happy 75th birthday to the person with the cutest house in Zionsville. Hold on, I'm going to stop this for real quick because it's out of focus. Okay, I'm back. I said I'm going to stop this for real quick. For real quick, I said. Oh my Lord. Something was running across the street. A couple of somethings. They have a hammock and little chairs and stuff. So cute, little town in here. Makes me want pancakes, though. The other night when I went to that restaurant before I went upstairs, I'm like, oh, I wanted to say this. Somebody said to me, I noticed you're not wearing your ring tonight in the video. Is it not comfortable? Okay, so here's my ring. Yeah, it's totally comfortable. I actually really missed wearing a wedding band. And you know, before that I wore the engagement ring. I really missed wearing it. But I had just gotten out of the shower, and I don't wear it like in the shower and to sleep. I asked Alex, I said, do you sleep in yours or wear it to the pool and stuff? He goes, I don't wear it to the pool, I don't wear it in the shower, and I know a lot of people do, but I asked him, and he was like, I just take it off. Well, I've known that for a long time. He takes it off and he puts it beside the bed. So I had just taken a shower and stuff, that's where it was. I'm kind of surprised I didn't put it right back on, because I've been doing that since we got them. But anyway, yeah. So, what was I gonna say? I don't even remember now. I have that song stuck in my head. It was that Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movie from back in the day, and it was something about a car, and it had like, my Mercedes, boy. Do you remember that song? Get inside my Mercedes, or something like that. what was that movie called? It was so bad. Do you remember they used to do all those movies together back in the day? It's crazy to think Corey Haim is dead. God, it's weird, isn't it? When your contemporaries kind of start to die, it's like a really... I remember when River Phoenix died, and I just was kind of like, is this real? And that was honestly, like, and I mean, obviously he died young, you know. Well, that's so sad and tragic that he died from GHB, I think it was, at the Viper Lounge in Los Angeles. I remember that. Well, actually, I'll tell you what's interesting is that when we went to Los Angeles, we stayed right there at a hotel right behind it. And you can see on the back of the building, it says Viper Lounge or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, Alex, it's Viper Lounge. And he was like, what? And I go, that's the Viper Lounge. And he goes, okay. And I go, that's where River Phoenix died. He goes, who's River Phoenix? I was like, Joaquin Phoenix's brother. He goes, oh, Joaquin Phoenix. Which is so funny because back in the day, Joaquin Phoenix wasn't, you know, didn't know anybody, but, or wasn't famous for anybody. But I do believe that Joaquin Phoenix was the one that called made the 911 call for his brother. River Phoenix was my celebrity crush when I was growing up, and that's how I knew I was gay. I mean, true story, he was like legit. I remember there were so many movies of his that I loved. Mosquito Coast, A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. I had like his hair, okay? Like I had the same hairdo. People used to always say I looked like him when I was like in high school. There were so many movies of his that I liked. I actually really like, I mean, this was when he was a lot younger, but I like that movie, Explorers, and it's with him, Ethan Hawke, and I can't remember who the third kid is, but they, like, invent a spaceship. Do you remember that? I don't remember who the third one is in there, but it's somebody else that's famous, too. Not Lucas Haas, is it? Whatever happened to him? Yeah, I really liked River Phoenix back in the day. I liked Martha Plimpton too in Goonies. She's hilarious. Well, Martha Plimpton is just hilarious in general. I wonder why she doesn't make movies anymore. Is she in some TV show or something and I'm completely unaware of it? Did you guys ever see the movie 200 Cigarettes? Oh my God, that is like one of the best movies ever. So if you've never seen it, it's about all of these different people, and 200 Cigarettes is a carton of cigarettes, okay? So it's New Year's Eve in New York City, and it's like in the late 80s, I think. Late 80s, early 90s. It's like Paul Rudd and Courtney Love are like best friends, but they're like a love interest with each other. And there's like all of these like famous people in it. It is like so hilarious. It is one of the best movies in the entire world. I can't remember who the two girls are that like come to New York to go to this party. And they have like these New Jersey accents, and they're like famous now, but like that was like one of their first movies. And she's like I think her name is Val. She's like, so anyway, but it's like back in the day, there were like these very famous like artsy movies that came out. There was like, I feel like I should probably end my night, but it's whatever. I just unpacked and then I watered the plants on the front porch. So I feel like I'm back to my cozy little life of cozy mysteries, and I'm ready for the dogs and water the plants and unpacked everything, and my life is back to normal now. I told Alex, I said, it feels like we were in Las Vegas forever. He goes, we were in Las Vegas forever. We were there for a week. And I was like, yeah, we kind of were. It did seem like a really long time. 7 days in Las Vegas is long. And I know I always say I could be out there for 2 weeks because we almost did it for our anniversary. Like we were out there for 11 days. But for some reason, this trip seemed really long. So anyway, but we had a blast. I do forget though, like going into other cities, like restaurants, like Miami. I don't know. I don't forget it, but like I'm never prepared, I guess. Like Miami, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all the Chicago even. I mean, you go to any restaurant is expensive. just any restaurant, unless you're getting Chick-fil-A or, you know, pizza across the street. I'm just thinking of places that we passed when we were walking down the street. We saw White Castles there on Las Vegas. I think it was on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's way down, but anyway. I said, Alex, there's a White Castles. And he was like, do you want White Castle? He goes, you know, that'll give you the runs. And I was like, okay, no. But they do have Impossible sliders there. And those Impossible Burger sliders at White Castles. So anyway, I know it's White Castle. I call it White Castles. Do you know what Crystal's is? Crystal's is almost just like White Castle's. But anyway, so then I unpacked all my bags, took my suitcase to the basement, and then because that's where we keep our suitcases with everything else in the basement. And then I have a little pile of clothes on the floor, then I put all my shoes away, then I put my carry-on bag, my roller carry-on bag that I put all my shoes in and stuff like that. And bags and all that kind of stuff. I put that away and put all my shoes away, and yeah. And then I always have stuff that I have to take like downstairs, like my fan and whatever, and I took all that downstairs. And then I'd already set up my computer, and then I set up my computer earlier. So anyway, that was all done. But, okay, back, so that was my night, and then I carried all my stuff out, brought it to the car, and then I was like, I'm gonna water my plants. So I watered my plants, and they are now fully watered. So, I'm ready to wake up tomorrow and go get my dogs, my pups. I'm so ready to see my little puppy dogs. I told Alex last night, I said, Boo Radley called. He goes, he did? I said, yes, he called, and he plays along now, see? And I said, Boo Radley called, and he said, okay, Dad, it's been long enough now. How many more sleeps? I said, Boo Radley, just 2 more sleeps, tonight and tomorrow. He said, okay, Dad, I can make it 2 more sleeps. Because, see, well, I already explained this, didn't I? That we say sleeps. Anyway. So I tell them before I leave, see, you have 9 sleeps or 10 sleeps, however many sleeps they have. There's been all this lightning tonight. We had to fly in and lightning, and Alex was like taking videos of it. I said, he goes, here, look at this. I said, I don't want to see that. I don't want to have to imagine going through that lightning. That scares me. It's like that Twilight Zone back. Wasn't that Twilight Zone, or was it Creep Show? What was that back in the day? What was that movie? Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Twilight Zone is what it was, though, I think. I don't know. Something scary, but there was like, they were taking a plane ride, and there was like a creature, like a monster on the wing of the plane. Do y'all remember that? What was that movie? I don't remember. But anyway, there was a lot of lightning when we landed. And I said to Alex, I said, do you think it's supposed to rain? He goes, you think? There's been so much lightning. And I go, well, it could be heat lightning. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh, I was talking about those movies. Okay, so back in the day, there were all these movies that, well, 200 Cigarettes came out after all of this, but there were all these movies that I loved, right? There was like, I can't remember what the cab one was called, but it was called like One Night in Heaven, or, well, did you guys ever see that movie, 7 Minutes in Heaven, like the game? Oh my God, I loved that movie so much back in the day. With Jennifer Connelly was in that movie. But, there was a movie, and it was called like, I think it was called One Night on Earth, actually. And it was like 3 stories of 3 people taking a cab at the exact same time. But like, it would be like, one would be like a half an hour, then another one would be a half an hour, then the other one would be, it was like 3 different stories. Then there was a movie that was called, I can't remember what any of these movies are called. It was 3 different groups of people that were in Memphis, Tennessee. Isn't that where like Elvis is from? Graceland. Is that Memphis, or is that Nashville? That's Memphis, right? They're in Memphis, Tennessee, and they're all staying in the same hotel at the same night. Why can't I remember what that movie is called? It's so good. And it's like this couple is staying there. And then, but like, it's all happening at the same time, but like when you watch it, it's like half an hour, half an hour, half an hour. And so it's like this two women, like they share a room, and one is from like Tennessee, and I think she like left her boyfriend or something, and like she's staying, her and this woman are sharing a room, and the other woman's from like Italy or something. She doesn't even know where she's at. And then there's a couple that share a room, and they're like, at one point, they're like doing it in the room, and the two women are in the other room right next to it, and this woman that has a southern accent, she just goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and the Italian woman doesn't even really like, doesn't understand what's going on half the time. And so the southern woman's like, she's like going on talking all this kind of stuff, and then she's like, do you think she goes, oh my god, they're doing it in there. What is that movie called? That movie is so fantastic. But there were all these artsy movies that came out that were kind of like that, and this is like one of them. Well, this was like a little bit after that, but 200 Cigarettes, and it was with so many famous people. But the whole background of the story was Martha Plimpton was having a party for New Year's Eve, okay? And she invited like all of her friends. And her friend came over because her friend wanted to meet like hot guys. And nobody was showing up to this party, like nobody. And her friend was really bitter about it. So she ended up leaving. And Martha Plimpton, and everybody in the movie is like connected because they all know Martha Plimpton, right? And she's got like this party hat on, this dress, and at this one point she's like dancing. Well, there's this one part, she starts getting drunker and drunker and drunker. And there's this one point when she is, and this is so funny, I don't know why I just saw this, but Tanya's always like, tell me a movie. And I'm like, what? She goes, you tell movies so well. She's like, tell me a movie. And I'm like, no, I don't want to ruin it for you. She's like, no, please, just tell me a movie. I'm like, okay, here's a movie. So I tell her a movie. I'm like, what movie? What kind of movie do you want? So anyway, and then our friend's girlfriend that was visiting not too long ago, she's like, Peter and Tanya have more stories than anybody that I've ever known. That's what she told Tanya. Or that's what she told her girlfriend, and her girlfriend told Tanya. But anyway, that's our friend Liz. So, okay, Martha Plimpton's really excited because the only thing is somebody that's coming to the party knows Elvis Costello, and she's always wanted to meet Elvis Costello because she's like such a huge fan of Elvis Costello. Do you guys know Elvis Costello, the song, or the singer? The singer. Back in the day, I used to love him. There were two songs that he sang. Oh, I was gonna say One Long Pair of Eyes, but that's Robin Hitchcock. I loved Robin Hitchcock too. But he sang Veronica. That's why when I do my reviews at Starbucks and Veronica's there, I always go, Veronica, and she goes, Peter, because she doesn't get it. But it's the song by Elvis Costello, Veronica. So anyway, so that's the storyline. Well, there's one part where Summer of 42 is on. I think it's Summer of 42, where she says, love means never having to say I'm sorry. And Martha Plimpton is so pissed because nobody showed up to her party, and she's all alone on New Year's Eve, and she's got all this like booze and alcohol and food and booze and stuff. So the part where she goes, love means never having to say I'm sorry. She takes her drink and throws it at the TV screen. Anyway, Martha Plimpton gets so drunk that she passes out at her own party, and the next day she wakes up and like it has been like this, like the party of the century, right? And everybody has been there, and there's like, she's looking at the Polaroids, and it's, or do they just like show him at like on the screen at the end? But anyway, it's her with like Elvis Costello, and she's like passed out and acting crazy. She doesn't remember any of it. Isn't that so funny? And she's talking to somebody, and they're like, oh my god, this was the greatest party in the entire world. It's such a great movie. 200 Cigarettes. If you've never seen it, you should see it. It's a great movie to watch on New Year's Eve. What is that movie called about? With the hotel. I know somebody will know it. I feel like I own... well, Winona Ryder, I think she plays a cab driver in one of the movie about the cabs. I'm gonna pull in here and see if I can find. what these movies are called. The one about the Cavs is not as good as the one. The other one that takes place in Memphis, there's like a shooting or something, like a gun goes off. Somebody like shoots a gun. And so like that's part of it too. But like that one, the music and everything is done so well. That was like at the period where I was like really, really into like David Lynch movies, and I'm gonna find out what that movie is called really quick. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get my reading glasses out. The pair that I did not leave somewhere. Okay. Let's see. One Night on Earth. Is that the name of the movie? Night on Earth. Is this it? Night on Earth is a 1991 art comedy drama film written and directed by Jim Jarmusch. It is a collection of 5 vignettes taking place during the same night concerning the temporary bond formed between taxi driver and passenger in 5 cities: Los Angeles, New York, Paris, Rome, and Helsinki. Yeah, the soundtrack of the same name is by Tom Waits. Is Winona Ryder in this? Was I right? Oh, first one. Winona Ryder, Gina Rollins, Giancarlo Esposito, Rosie Perez, Roberto Benigni. Okay. Movie about hotel in Memphis. Do you ever like see movies and you don't remember? What is that one movie? Hotel. Okay, well, before I find this, I'm going to say movie, because I want to see Hotel Budapest. Did you guys see that movie? That movie was really good, and I don't even remember what it was about. In the 1930s, the Grand Budapest Hotel is a popular European ski resort presided over by concierge Gustav H. Rolf Fiennes. Zero, a junior lobby boy, becomes Gustav's friend and protege. Gustav prides himself on providing first-class service to the hotel's guests, including satisfying the sexual needs of the many elderly women who stay there. When one of Gustav's lovers dies mysteriously, Gustav finds himself the recipient of a priceless painting and the chief suspect in her murder. That was like such a great movie. I remember Alex and I watched that. But I haven't watched... Is this by the other... what was that? Is this also by the Royal Tenenbaums? I saw that years ago. I don't remember anything about it. Moonrise Kingdom, the Darjeeling... What is this? The Darjeeling Limited. The French Dispatch, The Life Aquatic. I saw that years ago. Don't remember anything. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Fantastic, Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs, and Rushmore. Are those all by the same people? Or am I out on time? Oh my god, maybe it is gonna rain. About hotel in Memphis. It might be Nashville, but I'm almost positive it's Memphis, Tennessee. Isn't that where Sun Records is? Because they say something about Sun Records in the movie. It has a lot of music in it. Mystery Train! Mystery Train. And this is what it looks like. The cover. Doesn't matter. You guys are like, we don't care about it. Mystery Train is a that was my senior year. Mystery Train is a 1989 independent anthology film written and directed by Jim Jarmusch. Oh my god, it's by the same person. And set in Memphis, Tennessee. The film is a triptych. That's why they reminded me so much of each other. Of stories involving foreign protagonists unfolding over the course of the same night. Far from Yokohama features a Japanese couple on a cultural pilgrimage. A ghost focuses on an Italian widow stranded in... I was guessing that. I said she was Italian. Stranded in the city overnight and lost in space follows the misadventures of a newly single and unemployed Englishman, Joe Strummer, and his reluctant companions. Oh my god, I forgot about that one. Rick Avilas and Steve Buscemi. I love Steve Buscemi so much. The narrators are linked by a rundown flop house overseen by a night clerk. Screaming Jay Hawkins, and his disheveled bellboy. I can't pronounce the guy's name. Sinky Lee. The use of Elvis Presley's song Blue Moon and a gunshot. This is so crazy. Okay, let's see what other movies he's done. Mystery Train was 89. What year was... I was going to say, if I look on here and it says 200 cigarettes, I will die. What year was On Earth? Didn't I just read it? Oh, the battery's dying. Didn't I just read the one on Earth and it said that he did that one? It doesn't say anything in here about Night on Earth. Oh, here it is. 1991, so it was 2 years later. Anyway, another great movie that I would recommend is, and I will tell you who it's with, I can't remember, it's got Rosanna Arquette in it. That movie is After Hours, and it is so weird, and it's about this guy that gets, he doesn't have taxi money, cab money to go home. Who is this with? Griffin Dunn and Rosanna Arquette. He doesn't have, and it has the Peggy Lee song, Is That All There Is in it. He doesn't have enough money to go home, to take a cab home. And so all night, like, Rosanna Arquette is like, I'll give you the money, I'll give you the money. All these people are like, I'll give you the money. And he can't get home from Soho to his apartment. And it's all this, like, crazy stuff happens, and all these people are trying to, like, get him and kill him and all this kind of stuff. If you guys have never seen After Hours, you have to see it. But I have to tell you, like, it is, like, okay, the battery died, and I am now on my way. Can I just tell you that I wish that there was something that was open 24 hours, because there is nothing here that is open. I think McDonald's, one McDonald's might be, but there's nothing there for me to get. I wish Taco Bell was open. Like, I'm really hungry. Do you hear those Tic Tacs over there? Anyway, After Hours, I love that movie. So many good movies in the world, you know? So many good movies. This vlog is longer than I thought it would be tonight. I thought I would just get in the car and kind of like be like, okay, you guys, I'm home and whatever. Because I was kind of tired and now I'm kind of wide awake. So, and then when I listen to my audiobook, it's really not that late. I mean, it's late, but it's not like late for me. It's 3 o'clock. You guys are like, it's really late. It just really isn't that. It doesn't feel like that late to me, but you know, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. Hi. I got this thing in our mailbox. They do these concerts at the pool like once a month, which is really nice, you know? But it's like little bands from around town that come and like, they donate their services to play for like a night, and they usually get like a food truck. And so we got this like little thing, piece of paper that said that the concert will be starting earlier this weekend because there is no food. I don't know what night it is, Friday or Saturday night. I think it's Friday. This might have been from last week. I don't know, but although it was hot here all last week. But it said there will be, that the concert is starting early on Friday night. I think it said like 7 or something, because there is no food truck this week. And it might be a little cooler than expected. And I was like, is this supposed to be like cold in Indianapolis this weekend? I hope not. My husband is going to Chicago this weekend for a music festival. And I will be having a little bachelor weekend with Boo and Tucker. Not for long though. I think he's going up there late on like Saturday. And he'll be back early. I think they're coming back on Sunday night, actually, like late Sunday night. Maybe they're coming back on Monday morning. I really don't remember. There's a couple that he's friends with that he's going up there with. And then 2 girls. And then he knows some other people that are going that he's meeting up with there and whatever. I'm actually kind of excited about just like having, I might like just like rent a drag pageant and listen to some audiobooks and get some good food, good snacks, and clean the house on Saturday afternoon, take a nap, and just enjoy the weekend, you know. Might see if Tanya wants to get together and do something, like go out to dinner, or just like maybe like have a little 2-person pitch in at her house, and we can maybe I can like make a pasta salad or something and bring it over, and I can do that out of the box. We can have something over there that might be kind of fun. Or maybe we can go to the pool and get food and eat it there. If it's not like, well, this is the last weekend. Pool's closed this weekend, which feels so weird to me. That a week from tomorrow, all the pools are closing. It's crazy. Can't believe it, but summer's over. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Guys, there's like crazy lightning all around me. Oh my gosh. Well, we had a fantastic trip, but I'm happy to be home. The money I took to gamble with, I didn't even spend all of it. I'm so proud of myself. So I brought, ow, damnation. So I brought money home. Quite a bit. I didn't really gamble a whole lot, except for like 1 or 2 nights. I mean, I would like sit down and like, you know, at the casino, at the slots or whatever. You know what's so weird is? Here in Indiana, like when I play slots, I play slots. But like in Las Vegas, I really liked playing, I don't ever win on it, but I liked playing video poker. Like it was fun. And like I said, I don't ever win on it, but it was fun to play. I'm not great at it, but I'm not horrible at it either. And it kind of seems like, unless you like lose every hand for like 7 hands in a row, you can kind of keep on playing for a while. It's like your money doesn't go away real quick, you know? Which is nice, because you can kind of just like sit there, you know, for a while. The one thing I don't like though, and I'm sure that there are some casinos that are different than this, but like the Cosmopolitan, which is where I just played the whole time, they don't have like those soda machines, you know? So if you want a drink, you have to wait for the waitress to come around, and then they put it in a glass, which is like, it's like a glass, but it's like, you know, half the size of this and like that tall. And they fill it to the brim with ice, and so after like 3 sips, you're already done with it, and then it's like, okay, I'll have another drink, you know? They don't come around that often. The one last night was like really, really fun. Not last night, because I didn't gamble last night. The night that I just had like my relaxing night to myself, she was really sweet, like really, really sweet. Well, listen, you guys, I am going to, really, really sweet. She was really sweet. She was so nice. She was so nice. She was though, because here was the thing, like, I had like gone through all of my money, and so like I only had like $1 to tip her, and so when she brought my Coke, I said, I wish I had more than this. And she was like, oh my God, she was like, well, she didn't say oh my God, she was like, hey, she was like, trust me, she was like, that's more than most, or anything helps, or something like that. I can't remember what she said. But they like really bust their butts. They're like all over that casino. I mean, those casinos are huge, you know? So anyway, well, all right, I'm gonna get, I started saying this, and then I went back and told my story. I'm gonna get off here now. So, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday. You know what I was just thinking about? I don't know why I just remembered this. It's like my super long outro that I used to do. Do you guys remember that? I don't even remember I don't even know. I would have to go back and listen to it to see what I said, because I don't even remember. Isn't that crazy? I used to have this thing, I would go through everything, and it was like, I can remember one time it was like this 9-minute outro. I don't remember what I used to say and all that, but anyway, tonight I'm gonna keep it short. So, nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you guys are having a magically, I'm gonna keep it short tonight. My friend Stephanie said, you can just keep it short and say goodnight. Some nights, that's what started me like not doing the outro anymore. So anyway, thanks Stephanie. But love ya. But like I said, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And this will end up being a 9-minute outro. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and for those that need to hear it, I'm gonna stop the camera and make you wait. Hold on. I had to. And for those that need to hear it, back in Indiana with Spirit Fingers. Live in Indiana, from the Peter Vlog stage to the Peter Vlog stage, live from Indiana. What? I was gonna say something else, but I don't know what I was gonna say. Live from Indiana, back home again in Indiana, the Indiana show. The show in Indiana. One more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Because I'm being so silly tonight, I had to come back and do one more, I love you. The encore. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!